Hello everyone, this is Raptor coming back at you yet again, and today I'm going to be playing Ragnarok Online 2, the sequel to Ragnarok Online, which I've made a video. It's kind of funny because the thing about this game is that the history of this game is way more interesting than the game itself. So I want to go into that first, but if you want to skip to me going into the actual game, you can just fast forward through this video. It's pretty easy. But anyways, Ragnarok Online 2 technically launched in 2012, so the game is 8 years old by now in 2020. However, the concept of RO2 can be traced as far back as 2004, November to be exact. For some reason, at the Korean Game Expo, or well, I don't know what it's called, but it's like comics or whatever, and Gravity, the developers of Ragnarok Online, decided that they were going to announce that RO is going to get a sequel game, Ragnarok Online 2. And what was very weird about this announcement was that by that point in 2004, Ragnarok Online has only been out for 2 years. So it was only 2 years old by the time they announced RO2. And a lot of RO players at the time were like, wait, why are you guys suddenly making a sequel to a game that's barely been out for 2 years? Even stranger is when they finally got into developing the game the next year, they decided that the story of the game would not tie back to Ragnarok Online or the Ragnarok manhwa at all. It was like they wanted to go in a completely different direction with the story, and that confuses people even more. It's like, wait, why are you calling it RO2 if it has nothing to do with RO or the Ragnarok manhwa? That doesn't make any sense. They really didn't explain why they chose to make a sequel MMORPG to an already existing MMORPG that was barely getting itself off the ground. I think they spent about a year in development, because I think the first beta servers in Korea were opened in about 2007, and then they later opened beta servers for the Japan region. And those are the only two servers that they opened for the original version of RO2. It was only in Korea and Japan. So, of course, when the Korea and Japan beta servers for the original version of RO2 came out, a lot of people from all over the world decided to sneak their way onto the servers, find out what they could, play it as best they could, and then they report it back to the rest of the RO player base. So what came back was that the look and feel of the game did not feel like RO, because RO has a very anime aesthetic to it, thanks to the Ragnarok manhwa, which also went with a very anime art style to it. So people were still confused. Why is this called RO2 when the only connecting points was that one of the playable races in RO2 was the Norman, which is the name of the playable race in RO. So for all you not understanding why all of a sudden RO's main race is called Norman, it was already established as far back as at least 2006, 2007 that the main race are Normans, not humans. I know all the different RO publishers have named it humans, so that's been established unofficially, but yeah, officially they're called Normans, they're not humans. So with RO2, the original version, they went with 3 playable races. You could play as the Normans, which are basically humans. You could play as the Ellers, which are based on traditional elves, not the token elves that we all come to associate with the word elves, like the tall, beautiful, spiky-eared people. These Ellers were very much like traditional elves at the time. And then there was a third race called the Demagos, which are what the original story was like. The Magos are a union between a Norman and a Colossus. And it was the heck is a Colossus? Because again, this was RO2, the sequel to RO1, but in RO1 there's nothing in there suggesting the existence of colossi or any creatures called that. So again, RO players were very confused. It was that, the fact that you play one of the playable races called Norman, and then they had a city called Frontera, because in RO there's a city called Frontera, and of course in the Ragnarok manhwa there's also a city called Frontera. So those are the only two common things that RO2 had that tied it back with RO and the Ragnarok manhwa, but other than that they decided to go in a completely different direction story-wise. Why would Gravity do this? From what I've been able to find out, I have a feeling that the game, which is technically called Ragnarok Online 2 Gate of the World. So what I think was that the developers at Gravity originally meant for the original version of RO2 to be a separate 3D MMORPG called Gate of the World. And for some reason or another, the higher-ups decided, slap the Ragnarok name on it and let's ship it out. And developers probably were like, but we want to do our own original story and art style and stuff with this. Why do you want us to put the Ragnarok name on it when it has no relation to Ragnarok? Because that's the only thing that would explain is the city that they called Frontera in the game, from what I could see, it didn't really resemble Frontera from RO or the Ragnarok manhwa. So it was Frontera in name only, but not really in any other aspects. So yeah, the original version of RO2 was in beta testing for about a year in both Korea and Japan regions. That version of RO2 never made it to commercial release. There's a lot of speculation as to why, but from what I was able to dig up, apparently the development team for the original version of RO2 was very perfectionist. Like, they didn't want to release the game until like all the bugs were worked out and every glitch and every little like spelling mistake or whatever was like fixed. And I guess the higher ups became impatient and they're like, okay, this game is not going to be perfect because it's an MMORPG. There's always going to be bugs and glitches that crop up and you just got to take it as you go. I'm like, that's pretty much how this genre of game works before people started, making that the norm for non-MMORPGs, but we'll get into that, and that's another video. So yeah, the executives probably got really impatient with the development team and say, hey, you guys just launch it so as is so we can start making some money and then you can fix things as you go. And I guess there were some disagreements with the development team. So the original development team for RO2 left Gravity and they took the game with them. And last I heard, they went to Aria, which is a MMORPG publisher, and they tried to market the game as Lime Odyssey. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of that back in the day. But yeah, there was supposed to be a game called Lime Odyssey published by Aria, and that was basically the original version of RO2. The developers just went and like tweaked stuff around to make it different. And from last I heard, the game never launched. Lime Odyssey never made it to launch. It just ended up becoming vaporware because I guess the developers were still very perfectionist about the game and players waited to play it and it just never happened. So meanwhile, back at Gravity, I guess like a couple years passed since then, and in 2010 they announced that, hey guys, Ragnarok Online 2 is still gonna be a thing, except we're going back to the drawing board and actually making it a sequel to Ragnarok Online and the Ragnarok manhwa. And so they brought in Myungjin Lee, who is the creator of the Ragnarok manhwa, to come in and write stories for Ragnarok Online 2. So supposedly the quests in Ragnarok Online 2 is meant to be canon to the manhwa and RO. But I don't know, I feel they didn't really put a lot of effort in that regard, because what ended up happening once Ragnarok Online 2 finally launched in 2012 was that a lot of the features that the developers had promised was not in the game. With that said, now that you guys know the whole history of RO2, we're gonna get actually into the game. So here we are in Ragnarok Online 2, RO2. The UI has changed quite a bit from launch. They used to have this little like leather stitch bag kind of UI, which was really weird. Yeah, sure. And there's like all these announcements going on. I mean, it's not a bad game. I mean, similarly to Silk Road Online, it's pretty bare bones, like there's not a lot to the game. Yeah, so we got the bag slots. Yeah, so basically it's which with RO2 they pretty much went with World of Warcraft, but with the RO skin. Even though the RO skin is kind of a bit different, like they still went for the whole anime style that the Ragnarok manhwa and Ragnarok Online went for, but I don't know, it doesn't feel all that unique. Yeah, so there's jumping in here, so you can go around and jump, unlike RO where you can't jump at all unless you're a Taekwon class. Huh, where's the sound? Oh. Okay. Don't know why that happened. Okay. Oh. Alright. Don't know why the sound was not working. Okay, let me go back to this area, see what it sounded like. There we go. I mean, that's not the worst issue that RO2 has, but I mean, it's similarly to RO. There's just so many little things that I have issues with in this game that just all piled up into one big mess, and it's the reason why I don't really play this game for all that long. So one of the features that the new development team for RO2 came up with was there was this feature that's supposed to be like a tailoring system. So what you do, like if you have a character that's wearing like a cloth outfit, let's see, like this, like they were gonna have a system where it's kind of like the, what's that in Animal Crossing, where you could upload your own graphics and it would apply it to cloth class outfits. So if your character is wearing a shirt, you can upload like a texture or a graphic and it would like apply it to the shirt, and you could wear your own like customizable shirt. So I don't know if that ever made it to the beta test of this version of RO2, but when they launched the game and people were getting ready to upload their own graphics and make their own outfits and stuff, it was nowhere to be found. So tailoring system apparently got cut from the game. And then there was another system called the Monster Spirit system, and this kind of works similarly to the enchantment system in Ragnarok Online, where you can go pick up these like currency items or whatever, you exchange it to an NPC, and the NPC will enchant certain pieces of your armor with just random enchantments like extra attack speed or extra magic boost and extra elemental stuff. So RO2 versions of that would be when you're killing monsters, they drop these like monster spirit items, and then you can go to an NPC or I guess the crafting window and you can enchant your gear with a whole slew of different stats and stuff. That ultimately got cut from the game, even though it would have been really interesting to have that, so it adds more like customizations to your character builds and stuff. Oh yeah, the maps. The maps themselves were supposed to be a lot bigger. Like the new RO2 development team, like they really wanted to go full World of Warcraft with RO2, like make really wide maps and have like a whole bunch of monsters, basically make it like the 3D version of RO. And I guess what happened was the engine that they used, I think it was the Unreal Engine, it just couldn't handle that amount of rendering and that many players on one map. So a lot of things got shrunken down. The maps got shrunken down. I think Frontera got shrunken down significantly. There's buildings in there like the cathedral and the Frontera chivalry that were supposed to be like a lot bigger buildings, and when you go inside them, they're like so small and cramped now. The castle was supposed to be like a fully fleshed out castle, and a lot of those areas or the rooms inside got pared down significantly. And it was just like, it was insane how much they pared it down, because I actually looked up videos that people posted where they were in the beta test and the maps were so much bigger, and now everything feels very linear, very cramped. I mean, it doesn't look cramped now since I'm kind of like all alone on this map, but when you compare it to the size of the maps in World of Warcraft, I mean, it's like, it's really not all that big. Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, the UI was polished. It was complete. It's not like Silk Road Online where you have like some maps or some windows looking more polished and some other windows looking like they're totally unfinished and needed more work. So yeah, the map system, it works well. You can view the full map, you can view like a transparent version of the map, or you can just take away the map entirely. So the map system is okay. Like, all the basics work. Crafting is a lot like World of Warcraft, where you can find ingredients and then you can craft like a whole stack. Actually, let me see if I can get into town. Alright, here we are in Frontera, and it's oddly lagging because there's not a lot of people here. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, so right now I'm heading to the castle. I mean, Frontera is still a pretty sizable city, but let's see. Let's go to the cathedral. Yeah, you see the cathedral is like very big, very expansive. And then you go inside and it's like, why does it feel so small? Yeah, look at this. Look at this area. This is so tiny. You could probably fit like, yeah. It's really not all that big. I mean, it looks nice. I mean, they did a good job with like the textures and stuff. But again, it was like, there's only 4 rooms in here you can go into. And the outside looks so much bigger. Like, World of Warcraft, like, I feel the inns have more space than this. So yeah, it's like like look at the size of that door. It's so big, and you get in, and it feels like you're in Wonderland, and you're like shrinking down. I don't know. When I saw like the beta test videos, it was like, wow, the inside of this building was supposed to be so much bigger. Like, you could put like a whole second floor in there, and yet they didn't. That's how as much as you can see in there. Yeah, look at this. Like, there should be another extra room in there, and this, like, the cathedral stops like right here on the inside. And then here we go to the Frontera Chivalry, is where all the knights are stationed in the city. And you look at it, it's like, the outside looks so big. Oh my gosh, here we go, I'm lagging. It's like, there's no one here. Why is the game lagging so much? it's so small and cramped. Like, compared to what I'm used to in World of Warcraft, this is insanely small. Like, there's not even a second floor. It's big enough to house a second floor. But no, there's only just like a first floor. It's like, can I go up to like the towers and stuff? Look around? Say, really, you're only gonna show me like a first floor? Like, look at that. There should be a second floor, and like you should be able to go into the towers and look down and stuff. But it's just like it looks big, but then you go inside and it looks like the inside looks like this big. It's so like scaled down. Hello, pigeons. You're not realistic. You're supposed to fly away if I come towards you. Alright, so here we are in the castle. Looks impressive, right? And then... yeah, it's like, this part makes it look big, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this building is rather tiny. And you look here, there's like... let me see. Like, look at how these stairs are structured. It, like... yeah, look at that. Look at the scale of, like, the pathways. It is so tiny. Like, look at those stairs. It looks... who makes stairs like these? This is like some wizard, like Wonderland kind of crap. Like, you can obviously tell, like, this area was supposed to be so much bigger, and the stairs should be, like, more spread out. But it's like, they squeezed everything down, and it's so painfully obvious that everything's been squeezed down. Yeah, look at... like, these stairs are, like... they're proportional. Properly proportional, but then, like, you come up here and it's like there's nothing else to see here. These are just balconies. They don't go into, like, rooms or anything. It's like they cut the castle down to size so much. And again, in the beta test videos that I've seen, like, the castle was supposed to be so much bigger. There's supposed to be so much more room. Look at these stairs. They're so small and cramped. It's like, what is even the point of this? There should have been so much more in this place. Like, the castle in Ragnarok Online had more rooms than this. For the same size. Yeah, it's depressing to see, like, what was supposed to be in the game in the beta test videos, and then you see what's actually in. Like, look at this. Like, this should be a much bigger room, and it isn't. It's like everything's been, like, cut down. Like, what's the point of this? So you have all this water. Like, there's supposed to be so much more to this castle, and we can't even go in it. When did they fix this glitch? There's supposed to be, like, a glitch where, like, there's obviously supposed to be more to the interior of the castle, and oh, they put up an invisible wall. Yeah, you used to be able to go behind the castle, and you end up falling through the floor because the castle was supposed to be a lot bigger, and they didn't cover up the hole that was left behind after they, like, compressed the rooms of the castle and stuff. So anyone who found that opening were able to, like, go through and go past, like, the game graphics and stuff, and you end up being in this like weird glitched area where you're outside of the world of the game. So yeah, it looks like they just put up an invisible wall there. Oh my gosh, okay, I get it. So many little pop-ups, my gosh, it's like worse than 1990s internet. Yeah, look at this. Like, there's like so much stuff that obviously looked like it was taken out. Like there's something supposed to be there and they just took it out. Isn't there supposed to be a Christmas tree? Okay, you got the Christmas music going. Like, there's supposed to be like an event or like some sort of tree graphic here for the holiday season, but I guess they haven't enabled it. Can we go in here? Nope. Yeah, all these, so many buildings in the city, but you can only go into one of them. No, actually, here you go. Let me get my Pecco. Yay! Can I come inside? I can come inside. Alright, let me get off my Pecco. Yeah, look at this. You got this little shop here, which is nice. I think this the general merchant. So this is the only interior that they have completed. Every other NPC is like standing outside their respective building, but the interior of the building was never completely finished. Look at this, like, there's supposed to be some sort of interior here, and yet all these NPCs just standing outside. How sad is that? Like, they're supposed to, like, this was probably supposed to be like the inn, and all these merchants all these NPCs just standing outside. They have a home, they just can't go in. And look at all these cool buildings. Like, they did such a good job on the exterior. Yeah, look, it's the bank, or I think it's like the guild headquarters, and all these NPCs standing outside. So that's where you can go to like form your guild, which is nice because in Ragnarok Online you form it by finding an Imperium item, and then you just like double click on it, you type in the name of your guild and stuff. Yeah, the layout's kind of weird because in Frontera the castle is in the north, but they decided to put like the castle to like the eastern part. Yeah, I don't know why they arranged it that way. It's so sad what this game could have become, and Gravity decided they didn't want to flesh it out more, make it bigger and better. And for those who are still wondering, yeah, Aro 2 is alive, but there's no further development being made on the game. Look at that. That's like... this could have been like our Stormwind, with all these ships taking us to all these different locales all over the world. And now we'll never get it. Yeah, it's got a little castle town, they got a nice little harbor. Look at this. Why are NPCs standing outside? Oh, here we go. Here's the inn. And they already have like a little mailbox, so you can like get your mail here. And nope, can't go inside. What is this? Probably another shop. Can't go inside. No interior. Little profession NPCs. Look at this. Like, look how nice that little restaurant. I guess they got rid of all the tables. There used to be tables out here. Guess they got rid of them because I guess they don't want people to realize that there's supposed to be a restaurant here. Look at this. And now the chef NPCs are outside. It's so sad. Like, if they had spent more time to flesh this game out, it could have been a nice little game. Like, I honestly don't mind that it's a World of Warcraft clone with an RO skin. Like, that's fine. I mean, it works. WoW works. And as long as the game works, I mean, that's all you really need, right? Look at this. It's like all this work. Oh my gosh, look at that. All these NPCs just standing outside. Perfectly nice buildings, and there's no interior. It's sad. And like, the development on this game pretty much stopped because I think Gravity ended up giving up on it, even though they didn't really put much work into. Like, they did a good job with like the character designs and the environment designs and all that stuff, but it was like they did the bare basics and then they gave up on it. So much lost potential in this game. So much lost. It's worse than RO. Like, I feel sadder for RO too, because RO had so much lost potential, and this is even worse because you can see all this work that the development team went into putting on in these, and it's like it's so hard to enjoy it because you like see all of this potential just wasting away. Like, Gravity Interactive, their North American branch office, took up developmental rights. Like, they handed everything over to them, and from what I understand, like, they said the game was coded so badly that as much as they want to add all these like suggestions that players have made for RO2, they can't, because the game was not coded very well. So as they, like, from what I heard, it was like spaghetti code. Like, if they wanted to add all the features and suggestions that have been taken out, like if they want to add all the features that were originally promised, like, they couldn't do it. Gravity Interactive can't do it because the original developers, I guess they didn't program the game in a way to be able to implement that. I think at best they could probably add quests. Like Gravity Interactive, they can just add quests given what they have to work with, but for the most part, like, they can't do anything more. So what was it? The next update for this game was supposed to be Niflheim. Like, we were supposed to be able to go to Niflheim as the next area, and now that's gone because there's, like, they have the maps done in it. Well, mostly done. I mean, it's pretty much just like Frontera. It's like you have the map, the general map itself, and the exterior buildings are all done, but there's just like, there's no interiors, and there were no quests. There was no, I don't think they did any of the Niflheim NPCs. It was just bare bones, just the environment. And Gravity Interactive got all the assets, they got all the development rights, but they couldn't really do anything to expand the game. I think at most they allowed like players to go in and check out Niflheim, what was already done, but they couldn't really do anything to flesh it out. Ah, there's little chickies. Huh. So I guess chickens are a thing? Actually, I think, were there chickens in RO? I don't remember seeing any chickens in RO. I mean, there's chicken dishes, I think. These like enemy NPCs just standing around waiting to get beat up. It's like a blacksmith forge. Nope, they're all outside. They brought out an anvil because they can't even work inside. They've been evicted. Such a shame. They have job change NPCs outside of their headquarters. No interiors. Yeah. Could have been such a nice game, but the original developers in Gravity Korea, they just gave up on it because it wasn't making them the money they wanted, and Gravity Interactive, they couldn't do anything with it because they got spaghetti code to work with. So yeah, there was a lot, so many, like if they had implemented all the features that they promised, like this could have been a pretty good game. This would have been a really nice MMO. Yeah. It's depressing. I can't bring myself to play more because there's, now that knowing all this history behind it and what could have been, it's just sad. Yeah, so let's see if I can get a world map. So yeah, this is all we have. There's supposed to be a Hawaii area. And yeah, the next area would have, I think we're supposed to go into, there's supposed to be a Geffen area, and from there we're supposed to be able to visit Niflheim through some sort of warp gate. Yeah, this is like you already see in my Ragnarok Online video that the world in Ragnarok Online is just a fraction of what it's supposed to be. This is a fraction of a fraction. Like, that's how much smaller RO2's world is compared to RO. And we just got like we have three towns, Frontera, Alberta, Morok, and then we have all these little sections in between. So pretty much how like World of Warcraft is built out, like each region has like a main town, and then from there you got all these little sections in between to like flesh out the world. But yeah, this is all that we have to work with. I mean, what we have is nice, but this is like, this whole game is a teaser for what could have been. So even if they implemented all of RO's job classes into here, it just wouldn't be enough to save this game. There's like so much more needs to be done to get it good, and there's just no one who has the power to do anything could do anything. Like, there's players like me who just like, we have the passion necessary to really flesh this game out, but we're powerless to do anything about it. And then Gravity Interactive, like, they have the ability to do something about it, but they can't, given what they have to work with. Look at this. The interior should be so much bigger. And yet, this is all we have. Like, these chairs are so small. You can't even sit in them. You have to like jump on them, and then you think it's... Oh. I don't know how to sit. But yeah. So much potential wasted. I mean, Gravity went through all that trouble to remake it from the original version of RO2, and then they decided, well, we already put this much work into it, I guess we should give up. It's like, you've already taken the extra step to remake this game into an actual sequel to RO, and then you're not even gonna go any further with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about RO2. I mean, job classes are bare basics. They didn't even import all the job classes. Like, they're supposed to be like, it's supposed to be similar to RO's job classes, and like the thief class is supposed to have a thief, like a steal skill, so they can steal stuff from like the monsters, and then the wizard class is supposed to have all these like elemental spells, and that got watered down to like 10 skills or whatever. And then the warrior class, which is supposed to be RO2's version of the knights from RO, they're supposed to be able to do like a whole bunch of like weapon skills, and it's so much got cut from the game. And for what? For them to ultimately abandon it because it wasn't good enough to retain players. I'm like, well, if you had kept everything that you were planning to implement in the game, then the game would have been successful. Like, what did you really expect, Gravity? But anyways, yeah, that's my take on RO2. It's pretty much stuck in maintenance mode now. I think Gravity Interactive, they don't have the manpower to continue development on the game, but at the same time, they don't want to give up on it because, like I said, there's so much potential that can be had with the game if it was further fleshed out. So anyways, that'll be it for now. Till next time, this is Zero Raptor signing off. Laters.